Okay, let's go. Holding today is Thursday. Holding the fifth reading of the portion of Eidah, and we are holding in chapter 21, verse number 5. Avram ben Meir Shana, and Abraham was 100 years old. He when he had Yitzchak as a son. Vatemer Sarah, and Sarah said, God made me joy within me. Everybody who will hear this will rejoice over me. So Yitzchak li Yismach rejoice for me. The Medrash Haggadah interprets that many barren women were remembered with her. When she conceived and she became pregnant, many women were blessed with her. Many sick people were healed on that day. Many prayers were answered with her. And there was much joy in the world. That's what it says, everybody will rejoice with me. Because there were a lot of people were happy, so to say. And she said, who would have said that Abraham that Sarah would nurse children, for I have born a son in his old age. So Rashi says, Mima, expression of praise and esteem. Who has wrought and done? Who has created this? So what does it say? As it says how great he is. He kept his promise. The Abish, who could do this but God, who brought about this great blessing? Milel, scripture uses an unusual word and does not say diber. It says milel. Why? Because milel equals up to 100. Mem, lamed, lamed. 40, 30, and 30 is 100. At the end of 100 years of Abraham, Milel, who gave to Abraham a son at 100 years old. Imnika banim Sarah. Sarah nursed children. Why does it say children? On that day of the feast, the princesses brought their children with them, and she nursed them. Because they said maybe it's not her child. Maybe she snuck in a child. The only way she can have a child, if she has the capability, if it's her child, she'd be able to nurse. So they gave her children, and she nursed other children to show that she became like youth again. She had milk to nurse. And the child grew up, and he weaned. And Avraham made a great feast the day that Yitzchak was weaned. So Rashi says at the end of 24 months, 2 years. So at 24 months and 2 years old, he made a party, Mishta Gadol, a great party for all prominent people. The generation were there. Shem, Aved, Avimelech. It was a big party. Verse number 9. Vatei Sarah ben Hagar, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian. Asher Yodel Avram Mitzachek. And she saw that Yishmael was making merry. What does that mean? So Mitzachek, an expression of idolatry. She saw that they were worshiping idols. And that's what we see later in the Torah, when the Torah said Mitzachek, to make merry. Another explanation, expression of illicit sexual relationship. So also Mitzachek comes from the concept either idolatry or immorality. Another expression of murder, that he was getting a little reckless. These boys grew up in sport by Yisachku before us. So it's a concept of murder. So she saw that he was a big boy already. He was 14 years old. So she saw that Yishmael was getting a little reckless. So she said to Abraham, you have to drive this handmaid, Bezbanah and her son, away from here. Because this handmaid shall not inherit with my son Isaac. So Rashi says, from Sarah's reply, for the son of this handmaid shall not inherit with my son, you learn that he would quarrel with Yitzchak regarding the inheritance. He kept on teasing Yitzchak, saying, I'm the firstborn, and you should take and should take two portions. And they would go out in the field, he would take a bow and shoot an arrow at him, at Yitzchak. So she realized that this guy, he's interested in the inheritance of Avraham Avinu. It's all he had an interest. So therefore, she said that. She said this young man has an interest in inheriting, and it's not going to happen. In B'niyim Yitzchak, just because he's my son, even if we're not deserving as Isaac, or if we were deserving as Isaac and it was not my son, this one Yishmael does not deserve to inherit with him. How much more so that he doesn't deserve to inherit when he's my son and he's Isaac, who has both qualities. So therefore, I think you need to send him on his way. And Avram was very displeased concerning his son. There's two ways of learning this. Rashi brings down two ways of learning this. First of all, because he didn't know that Yishmael became not such a good person. Number two is he was not very happy at sending him away. But then Vayem Elakim Avram. So God said to Abraham, be not be displeased concerning your lad, this young boy and his housemaid. Whatever Sarah tells you to do, you should listen. Because in Isaac is going to be called your seed. So Rashi says you have to listen to your wife. From here we learn that Abraham was inferior to Sarah's prophecy. Sarah was a greater prophet than Abraham. You worry about your son. You worry about your son from your maid. Don't worry. This Yishmael will become a great nation. Because he's your seed. That's the greatness of Avram, the next verse. Yashkem Avram Babeker. Avram Avinu does not, he has alacrity. Doesn't wait any time. He heard a prophecy from the God. Yashkem Avram Babeker. Vayikach lechem v'chemes mayim. Got up, took bread, leather pouch of water. Vayital Hagar sham al shichma. He gave them to Hagar. And he put this young boy, and he said, you got to move on. And she went and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. Now she says he gave her bread and water, he didn't give her any gold or silver. Because he was angry that Yishmael became an idolater, he became a immoral person, and that he was basically trying to murder Yitzchak. It's a Yeled. They put the young lad, he's not a Yeled, he's like a 14-year-old boy. He placed the child on his shoulder. Why? Why did he place the child? Why couldn't he walk? Because Sarah cast an evil eye upon him. And he was seized by fever. And he couldn't walk on his feet. He got sick. She went and wandered. What does that mean? It's an interesting expression, as she says. And therefore, Rashi, she reverted to idols of her fathers. She said, you know what? You're throwing me out. I'm going back to my father's way. I'm going to go become an idol worshiper. And that's it's a tale of a taste. She wandered. Verse 15. And the water was depleted from the leather pouch. And she cast it off the child under one of the brushes. So why would the water deplete? Not that Avram didn't give them enough water, but when you have a sick person, it drinks a lot of water, Rashi says. Verse 16, she went and sat down afar, at about a distance of 2 bow shots. And she said, Kiyomra, she said, I don't want to see the death of the child. She sat far. And she raised her voice and she cried. So Rashi Meneged means merachik, from afar. Gemachve kesh, as far 2 bow shots, an expression of shooting of an arrow, in the language of the Mishnah. And Rashi tiach, because there's like an arrow. Now, if you ask, it should have been kematche keshes. I will answer that it's grammatically correct, inserting a vav here. And Rashi proves, Rashi does again, this is grammar. Rashi is proving the way the word is written, kematachve keshes, that there's a vav in the letter. Vateshem in Negev, when he drew near to die, she went further away, which is really, you don't do that when somebody's dying, you come closer. So God heard the voice of the lad. And an angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. She said, what's the problem? What's your problem? Al tiri, don't be afraid. Because God heard the voice of the child, where he is at this present time. So Rashi says God heard the voice of the child. Why did he hear the voice of Hagar? So Rashi says from here we learn that a sick person's prayer is stronger than anybody else's prayer. And therefore, a person that is not well, even though he should have other people pray for him, but his prayer is more powerful. According to the deeds that he does now, he's judged, and not according to what destined to do. Why? Because the ministering angels were accusing and saying, "O Lord of universe, for the one who's destined to kill your children with thirst, Ishmael is ultimately going to bring a lot of tzaddas to the Jewish people, so let him die. Why should we create a well for him? Let him die now, and won't have tzaddas, won't have any problems later." So you're bring him a well, and he answered them, "What is he now? What is he? He's a child. He's 14 years old, 15, 16. What is he now? He's a child." He's not, because Yitzchak was already 2 years old, 3 years old. So he was a good 16, 17 years old. So according to the present, I judge him. And this is the meaning where he is. Now, where did he kill the Israelites with thirst? He didn't do that. The harsh prophecy, right? When the Nebuchadnezzar exiled them, it stated the harsh prophecy concerned Arabia. Towards the thirst brings you water. When they led them beside the Arabs, the Israelites said to the captives, "Please lead us beside the children of our uncle Yishmael, and they'll have mercy upon us." As it say to the caravans of the Denatites. Do not read the Donim, Denatites, but Didim, uncles. So when they were being in the time of the first Galus, Babylon, when the Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Israel and destroyed the Beis Hamikdash and took the Jews to Bavel, they said they were marching at a death march, and they said, "Let's go by Yishmael. Maybe Yishmael will give us some food." And these Yishmael went forth them and brought them salted meat and fish and inflated skins. The Jews thought they were full of water. When they placed it in their mouths and opened it, the air would enter their body and he would die. So this is what the Ishmaelites did to the poor Jews who were marching towards Bavel. Needed a drink after they gave them food because they were also hungry. They gave them salted food and then they gave them air instead of having a pouch of water. So the angel said to God, "This is what's going to happen in the future. So right now, if you're going to put them to death, they won't go through this. The Jews won't go through this." But God said, "I don't judge a person, but right now, Right now, the Jews are not going to Babel. So therefore, the angel said to Hagar, Kumi si'esanat, verse 18, pick up your lad, Vachziki, grasp him in your hands. This the other boy, take his, while you're running away, go back to the child. Pick him up. I'm going to make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and she filled the pouch of water. And she gave the lad to drink. That's the same thing, and this was a very powerful pasuk, because in essence there was always a well of water there. She couldn't see it. So there's always the answer to the question is always there. You have to open your eyes, and you'll see the well of water. Verse 20, and God was with the lad. Yigdal, and he grew up. Yeshiv and Midbar, he lived in the desert. He became an archer, one who shoots arrows with a bow. He was Kashas designated because his occupation, like Chama, like a donkey driver, a Gama, a camel driver, a hunter. So therefore, again, there's a grammar. The shin is dogish. He would dwell in the desert and always, and he was a robber. Malastim said he would rob people, shoot them, kill them, and rob them. And that's why the Torah says before that his hands will be upon all, because everybody's going to be afraid of him as they travel through the desert, that he's going to be a bandit. Yeshiv and Midbar Parim, and he lived in the desert of Parim. Atikach la'ima isha meret Mitzrayim, and his mother Hagar took him a wife in the land of Egypt. So now she was a princess of Egypt, for the place where she grew up. As it stated, she had an Egyptian handmaid. She was an Egyptian handmaid. That is what people say: throw a stick in the air, and it will land in the place of its origin. Throw Hagar in the air, and she's going to go back to Mitzrayim. But ultimately, we know that first of all, Hagar did tshuva, and Yishmael also did tshuva. Both of them repented, and therefore later, according to Rashi, Avram remarries Hagar. After Sarah dies, he remarries Hagar, and he has more children with her. And so too, Yishmael comes back, and he repents, and him and Yitzchak live together in harmony later on. And we see that later by the passing of Avraham Avinu. So this ends the Chumash of today. We now go to the Tanya of the day, and we are holding the 15th day of Cheshvan. We're holding the beautiful, beautiful 27th letter of the Alter Rebbe in Igeres HaKodesh. The Alter Rebbe is explaining again to the students of Mendel Haradok, who passed away in Eretz Yisrael, lived in Tveria. He's buried in Tveria, and he's telling them that even though he passed away physically, he's actually with them more spiritually. And he said, because you have to know what means the life of a tzaddik. If you comprehend the meaning of the life of a tzaddik, then the life of the tzaddik is actually greater, the Zohar says, when he is passed away than when he's in this world. Because the life of a tzaddik is basically three things, he said yesterday. The life of a tzaddik is his faith, his fear of God, his awe of God, and his love. That is the true life force of a tzaddik. His life for the tzaddik is not as physical, not when he was even alive. The life of a tzaddik was his spiritual soul, was the ruach, the spirit of his soul. And therefore, now the Alter Rebbe, if you understand that, therefore, that's what he ended yesterday. And now he says, therefore, therefore, according to what I said yesterday, then therefore that as long as the tzaddik is living in this world, then hayshalish midas elu. Then these three things of his spirit, his faith, and his love, and his awe of God, that was a service of the tzaddik. They were all b'teich kli. They were all in a garment, in a vessel. V'lavish l'shalem b'chinas makom gashmi. They were all ultimately in the physical body of this tzaddik. Shebichenes nefesh shur beguf, which that is the nefesh, the soul, that's connected to the body. So the ruach, nefesh, ruach, neshama, the ruach of the tzaddik was connected to the nefesh of the tzaddik. And the nefesh of the tzaddik is the body. So the tzaddik ultimately was in a vessel. The chol tamidov, and therefore all the students, and the mekablim, they receive it through that vessel. So they only receive it, something that can come through that vessel. That shines through the vessel of the tzaddik. It's unbelievable, because trust me, the tzaddik knows how to shine in his vessel. Are they diburov, through the words of the tzaddik, the words and the thoughts of the holy tzaddik. But ultimately, it's garmented in a vessel. And therefore our sages said, that nobody can understand the knowledge of his master. Why? His teacher. Why? Because he's in a vessel. He's ultimately confined in a physical vessel. So how can you comprehend the essence of the teacher when the teacher is only showing you what he wants to show you? But when the tzaddik dies, passes away, the fish is, but now his spirit left the vessel. It's not anymore contained in the vessel. His spirit is unlimited now. So the nefesh always stays in the grave. That's why we specifically, first of all, everybody's nefesh stays in the grave, right? Because everybody has, even I'm talking about after 120 years, everybody's nefesh is connected to the grave, and that's why we go to heavy grave, because the nefesh is always there. That's why even the luz, ultimately, there's part of the body that does not go away. But a tzaddik is even more, because we know that a tzaddik, even his body does not decompose. Why? Because his nefesh was so connected to his body that, and now the nefesh is still part of the body. Therefore, the body doesn't decompose. And that's why we surely go to a grave of a tzaddik, because a tzaddik is much more there than anybody else. But the ruach goes in Gan Eden, which is these three attributes of Ava, Yira, and faith. Therefore, if you can imagine that the ruach of a tzaddik, his faith and his love and his awe, is even greater now than when he was alive. And now anybody who wants to connect to the tzaddik's ruach has no unlimited. Because now this ruach is not anymore in a vessel. Has no connection to any physical place. So therefore, when a tzaddik was alive, you had to come to the tzaddik. Because if not, he wasn't. Mendel Hadak was in Tveria. We wanted to be close to the tzaddik. You had to live in Tveria. Actually, the story of the history was that Alter Rebbe wanted to originally go with Rab Mendel Hadak to Tveria, but Rab Mendel said you got to stay in Russia. So, in essence, they were far away from each other. But now, the tzaddik is not connected to Tveria anymore. Anybody can receive his spirit anywhere in the world. It's known what the sages say about our father Jacob, peace be unto him. Shenichnas ima Gan Eden, that the Garden of Eden came in with him. It came in with him when it came to Isaac. Isaac said, wow, I smell the spirit of Gan Eden. So Isaac already smelled Yaakov's Gan Eden. Isaac already smelled the way Yaakov was in Gan Eden. And that's why when Yaakov walked into the room, the whole story with Yaakov and Esau, which we're going to soon come to in a couple of weeks, Isaac says, wow, I smell the spirit of Gan Eden. Because he was walking with Gan Eden. He was walking with the Ruach of Gan Eden. And that's what's brought down in Asar Mamaris, to the book of Kabbalah, Sha'avi Gan Eden, that the atmosphere of Gan Eden envelops every individual. Misat Kol Adam, every individual. And they travel with you, and in this Gan Eden, this aura of Gan Eden, every good thing goes into it. And hopefully other people can smell the Gan Eden. So that's really the Chachma. The other people can smell the Gan Eden. And it can go the opposite way, God forbid. That what's around them is Gehenim. And over there is recorded every aspect of negative that you've done. So the question is how you smell. Do we smell like Gan Eden, or do we smell like Gehenim? So now you can imagine that if it's like that in his lifetime, for surely it's even much greater. Because now the Gan Eden is all over the world. The Gan Eden is not connected to the physical body of the tzaddik. The Gan Eden is all over the world. Now everybody can connect to the tzaddik. To connect to the essential aspect of the master of the tzaddik, his ruach. Truth is, according to this, sometimes it's easier now to connect to the tzaddik when he's alive, because when he's alive, you're connecting to his body. His physical part of him is more dominant. But now that it's physical, he's physically not here. So his spirit is much greater. But he does not in the vessel. Which is the faith and awe. And that's why you see Taka Yidden around the world. Never forget tzaddikim. Right? We never forget any tzaddik who lived in the past. Not just as a history. We live with them. We live with Moshe Rabbeinu. We live with Avram, Yitzchak and Yankov, right? We're living now with them. We learn the Torah, we're living with them. None of us met Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But through learning the Torah, we connect to their spirit. We get the spirit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Sarah, and the way Sarah, and Rivka, and Rachel, and Leah. We live with their spirit. Even though we never saw them. Not important. Because it's important, the spirit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And all the Moshe Rabbeinu, all the way down to all the tzaddikim for all generations. And not merely a glimmer that radiates from their body, but the spirit which keeps on getting greater and greater and greater. The spirit of the tzaddik gets greater and greater and greater. To become absorbed in his neshama, which is in the higher Gan Eden, in the upper worlds. And it's known that the holy entity is never totally and utterly uprooted from its original place and level. Even after it reached the highest point, it never goes away. The spirit of the tzaddik will never go away from this world. And thus, the original aspect derived from the ruach of the tzaddik, remaining below in the lower Gan Eden, in its original place and level. He must passes el tamidov, it extends itself amongst his disciples. So even though the tzaddik continues to go higher and higher in Gan Eden, But what he is left here in this world, or any world, in Ganei Datat, it still stays there, will never disappear. And now everybody can connect to the tzaddik. You might not be able to connect to the tzaddik the way he's going up and up and up in Gan Eden. He's going higher and higher and traveling to the highest levels of Gan Eden. But what he brought down to the world, the spirit, what he brought down to the world, is still here. And so too, as the tzaddik goes up, wherever the tzaddik travels, his ruach is felt there and stays there. So in essence, the bird is, that's what it's called. We are going back to the example of Moshe Rabbeinu. We all call Moshe as Moshe Rabbeinu. He's the teacher. He's our teacher. He continues to be our teacher. Because what he taught Am Yisrael in the world stays, even though he's not here anymore, thousands of years. Never left the world. The Torah never left. Moshe emes, but Torah say emes. Moshe is true, and his Torah that he taught us is true. Never ever left the world. So too, every tzaddik, his spirit, his teachings never leave the world, even though he goes higher and higher and higher. And now everybody can connect to the ruach of the tzaddik. Anybody can connect it. Nobody can say that I have packaged the tzaddik. No, anybody can connect to the tzaddik on any level he wants to. Anybody, everybody. Self-understood that if you had the merit to be with the tzaddik in his lifetime, now it's even more powerful because you knew the tzaddik. So it's even greater. Each according to the level of his bond and closeness to the tzaddik during his lifetime and after his passing out of abundance of love. Because anything spiritual, this is an important concept, anything spiritual is elicited only by the means of an abundant love. You have to love the tzaddik. You have to love the righteous person. And that's the connection. So the Ava continues. The Ava to the tzaddik will elicit the Ava from the tzaddik to you. Because now it's the Ruach of the tzaddik. It's the spirit of the tzaddik. Ruach is the emotion of the tzaddik. That's why what he said before. What is the Ruach of the tzaddik? His Ava, his Yira, and his Emunah. As the Zohar says, Ruach, the Rusa, Liliba, Amshich Ruach Meila. The spirit of the inner heart's desire elicits a spirit from above. So if I have Ava to the tzaddik tzaddik's Ava connects to me. So too the disciple's heartful love to his master draws down these three attributes. But only if he will prepare himself towards his God with a great preparation and intense effort. As explained by an unnamed elder chassid, quoted in Likutei Haggadis, a great preparation refers to the preparation of the soul. Intense effort refers to the toil of the body. So the more you prepare yourself, the more you want to connect to the tzaddik on these three levels, the better you're going to have a connection to the spirit of the tzaddik even after his death. The Kabul Shalosh Midas Eileh. Then he will receive these attributes in a way that his master taught him. Paraphrase the words of our sages, K'mayim Razal, Yagaita umatsasa tamen. If you labor and claim to have found it, believe him. So the more you're going to labor in this connection with the tzaddik, the more you are going to receive from the tzaddik. And that concludes the Tanya of today. Very powerful Tanya. Yeah, you asked a question. Can you? Yes, and that's really the relationship. The ava you have to somebody that you that you had a relationship in this world with, that ava will get stronger and stronger. It all depends on the ava that you had in your lifetime with the tzaddik, with another person.
Rabbi, are you saying ahava, like love?
Love. Yeah, ahava, love.
Oh, okay.
Love. Simple love. So the ava that I have for the tzaddik or for anybody else, ava I had for my father and mother. That ava gets better, gets stronger, gets deeper, because it's not a love, because love is not connected only to the body. It's actually connected to who they were, to who they are. They're not the word, they're who they are. Because that their emotions, their own emotions, continues to live. Their physical body is not here. That's true. But their spirit, what they stood for, what they taught, what they expressed, their love of God and their love, their fear of God and their connection to God continues, never ends, never ceases to be in the world. And therefore, you can continue to have this relationship with your loved ones forever. And I just want to say that before I see you want to ask another question. Let's just say that the Tanya of the Tillim of the day. Today is the 15th day of the month, which is chapter 77 and 78. So 77 and 78 in your Tanya and your Tillim, your Psalms, 77, 78, you do the chitas of the day. In Mitcham today, we are going to have a class at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. either at Chabad or right over here on Facebook, TorahDirect.com, on the portion of the week and teaching of the Rebbe, which is going to be the same concept that Rebbe is going to talk about Avram and Yitzchak, and the concept of their Ava and their Yira, their concept of their love and their fear, their awe of God, and what it means to us. So that will be 10 a.m. today.